Hello everybody and welcome to the 2013 Commerce World's Strongest Man. We've reached the final. Here we are in the host city of Sanya on the shores, quite literally, of the South China Seas. And what a remarkable week we've had here. A week that's brought East and West together. A week that has mixed the charms of the Orient and strongman's biggest characters.
Over the next hour, one of our athletes will write their name large in the annals of World's Strongest Man history. Can England's Terry Hollands, a veteran of 7 previous finals, end a 20-year British drought? To do so, he must conquer one of the best lineups ever in this competition. Lithuanian legend and 3-time champion Zydrunas Savickas is here. Brian Shaw, the Colossus from Colorado, will be looking to regain the title he lost in 2012. And the young Viking Hafthor Bjornsson hopes to restore Iceland's dominance of this competition. The cream of the crop is gathered, but only one of these giants will be crowned the 2013 World's Strongest Man.
30 competitors began the week here in Sanya. They faced the usual rigorous tests of strength, but also fierce heat and intense humidity. And now just 10 remain. Their battle for the title of World's Strongest begins now with event 1, the steel frame carry. These are the steel frames. They weigh 825 pounds. That's about 375 kilos, or the equivalent, if you will, of picking up 4 cruiserweight boxes. The frames have to be carried down this 15-metre course and then back again, of course. You are allowed to put the frames down en route, but frankly, the effort involved in picking them back up again means you really don't want to go there. As Confucius once said, it matters not how slowly you go, only that you do not stop. And he knew a thing or two about strongman.
There are the rules for the frame carry. You've got 60 seconds in total to lift this massive weight, 375 kilograms, over a course of 30 meters. It's going to be an awesome competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the United States of America,
First-timer Robert Oberst from the United States. He's a big man, deceptively big, 2 meters and 3 centimeters tall. Johannes Arhu of Sweden in his second final, gaining more and more experience all the time. Terry Hollands, well, he's broken a lot of records in his life, and this is his 8th World's Strongest Man final. Unlike Mike Burke of the USA, who contests his first.
From the United States of America.
Another American is Mike Jenkins, who came from way behind to gain a qualifying spot for this final, his 3rd final in total. All eyes on England's Terry Hollands at the start, and it's Hollands who gets away the quickest.
Grip is absolutely crucial here, and so too is this second pickup. Who can pick and go first?
Well, Jenkins is going. He's neck and neck with Burke at the moment, and Jenkins is going to finish fastest. Jenkins gets it, Burke in 2nd place, and Terry Hollands, after that fantastic start, almost sliding through the finish line. He'll be very disappointed with that. Everybody thought he might win it, and in fact he's come nowhere close to it. Oberst is still going on the far side of the track. He's still within the time, of course, 20 seconds left. And Robert Oberst just taking his time. Remember what James said right at the start. Slow and steady could be the operative word here. And it's certainly worth keeping going because we've got another heat to come, of course. He's just struggling towards the end of the first lap, and that is enough. And looking at his hands, and those grips are certainly a big problem. Mike Jenkins, though, winning it, 20.14. A very good result indeed. Terry Hollands in 3rd place.
So many men have hurt their hands in this. These thin grips are difficult to hang on to, but it's Jenkins, mind over matter here, who powers away for the win.
Terry, just tell me how frustrating that was. You looked to get off to a strong start, but seemingly the grip was really hard work.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a problem for me. They use these small handles, and it's always causes some of the guys problems, but I knew it'd be a problem anyway. I mean, I'm always fast on this sort of event. Towards the end, my grip starts to struggle. Thicker handles is usually a different story.
Lastly, tell me how important it is to try and remain injury-free during these final events.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the hardest bit. I mean, we're all pretty beaten up by this point, and the heat's definitely making it tougher, but if you can stay in one piece towards the end, you know you're going to be in for good points. some of the guys will start sort of struggling with injuries towards the end. It gets really tough. But I feel good so far, and I've got no niggles at the minute, so fingers crossed.
Please welcome from Russia, Misha
Koklaev of Russia in his second final. And just wait until you see the rest of the competitors in this second heat. Hafthor Bjornsson, the tallest man in the final, 2 meters 8 centimeters. One of the widest men, Vytautas Lalas of Lithuania. Lithuania have got 2 men in this final. There's the second of them, one of the strongest men in the world, 3 times a world's strongest man champion. And he's standing next to a man who won this championship, took it away from Zaviskas in 2011.
Take your grip. Ready?
So is this going to make a big difference to the overall result? Brian Shaw getting away quickly nearest the camera, but drops it.
Well, they've all gone down except for Hafthor Bjornsson, who goes down now. Again, it's the grip. It's so tricky. You remember Jenkins, he was here in about 10 seconds in the first leg. So none of these men as quick as the first heat.
It looks as though all they want to do is make sure they finish. And certainly Jenkins' time is standing up to the test of all of these guys at the moment.
Well, Paul, all of these men are heat winners. In theory, they were the better performers over the last week. But right now, the first heat, the time's there standing up.
Well, Bjornsson is finished. That's a good result for him. Jenkins is struggling. Lalas there is really struggling. And Koklaev has just walked away from the apparatus. He's given up. And there is the greatest of them all, Zaviskas, who really is finding this very painful. The Lithuanians are just standing side by side thinking, what on earth have we got into here? There's the big man. And this guy, Bjornsson, 4th place in total, 43.47. Everybody else was a long, long way behind. Zaviskas, 19.7 meters he carried it for 6th place. Not a good start for the champion. And Brian Shaw, the former champion, in 5th place.
Well, who would have predicted that leaderboard after the opening event? Shaw and Big Z well down the points, and it's Mike Jenkins who leads the pack. He and his fellow countryman Mike Burke with blistering times. And Terry Hollands will be thrilled with 3rd. Bad news, meanwhile, for Misha Koklaev. The former Olympic lifter has almost no skin left on the palm of his hands, and even the tough Russian knows the game is up. 1 event down, 1 strongman down. And after the break, things are going to get even tougher for the remaining athletes, as there's a World's Strongest Man Classic on the way, the truck pull, now with added boat.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Commerce World's Strongest Man final here in Sanya on the South China Sea. Event 1 here has already shredded palms and expectations, with Shaw and Zaviskas both struggling, Koklaev KO'd, and Mike Jenkins picking up a mighty win. Well, now it's time for Event 2. It's the truck pull only, and they're not going to like this. Someone's left a boat on the back of the truck. Total weight for the whole kit and caboodle is 16 tons. They have to drag it down this 25-metre course in the space of 75 seconds, all in 40-degree heat.
Well, it's certainly the heat that could be the big problem here. As you've just heard, 75 seconds, the time limit to pull 16 tons. That's 4 tons heavier than the heats. There's the results so far. Lalas, Burke, Jenkins, Arhu and Oberst. The top time, 45.92. Well, it's Zaviskas now needing a good result, and he's looking to claim a 4th title after thrilling World's Strongest Man audiences for the last 15 years. Well, the great man will certainly need more than his 6th place in this truck pull. And remember, the truck is 4 tons heavier than in the heats, and we remember how heavy that was. He just got to lean against it to start with. His vast body weight should get that truck moving in the right direction.
We have a perfectly flat surface here, so the start, the inertia, definitely the hardest bit. It's who can get it up to the highest speed now that will win.
Watch the clock. The leading time so far, 45.92. Still got some way to go. Halfway down the course is the lorry with that huge boat on the back. We've had heavier things in World's Strongest Man, but not many. Zabiscus is going well now. He's got to get over the line. The front of the lorry's got to get over the line too. It's going to be close, very close indeed. He's just done it. 0.11 of a second for Zabiscus, and he does go into the lead. That could be a winning time. Who knows? We've got some great competitors yet to go. But Zabiscus has made his mark.
He's won truck pulls before in the World's Strongest Man final. He's made his mark here. He's laid down the benchmark for the others. That'll be tough to beat.
From the United States of America, Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw certainly made his mark on the World of Strength in 2011, where he became World's Strongest Man. Now Zabiscus's time just over 45 seconds. So if Brian Shaw can get this truck moving, which he may not do if he's not leaning on the lorry, but his vast body weight, even bigger than Zabiscus, could be a big advantage here. Now he's beginning to get going.
He's the heaviest man in the World's Strongest Man final. It's certainly an advantage to be so big, but it also, his left arm was damaged last year. That's now healed, and he's able to use his whole body. This is looking really solid from Shaw.
It certainly is. He's one of the only guys not wearing these climbing boots. These are just ordinary trainers. But watch the clock. That is a huge improvement on Zabiscus's time. And doesn't he know it?
Yes!
Yes, he's just been given confirmation of what, again, could be a winning time. But that was a vast improvement on the lead.
Absolutely, over 4 seconds of improvement here. Look at the effort. Sweat lashing off him. Drove it all the way over the line.
Well, congratulations, Brian, with a time of 41.23 seconds. A real good effort there on the truck pull and leading so far. You must be happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few more good truck pullers to come, so that I hope that time stands up. But it's a tough pull today. The course, the ground's a little bit slippery, so it's a tough pull.
You really showed some emotion at the end. How much did this mean to you after some disappointment in the frame carry?
Yeah, the frame carry is tough. I've had a really hard year with my hand and some nerve damage and stuff. So that I knew was going to be a tough event. So I got to come back, and now I've really got to start picking up some points.
Well, Brian Shaw absolutely dripping in sweat. That gives you an idea as to what sort of temperatures we've got here, and the humidity as well. Will it affect Hafthor Bjornsson?
Take the straight!
Similarly built to Brian Shaw. Must stay low and drive off 2 feet. He's not low enough, though, and just slipping a little bit here. But he's getting the lorry moving.
Paulie always does this in a kind of different method to everybody else. It doesn't look pretty, but it works. It's effective. In 2011, he joined the World's Strongest Man final with a bang, winning the truck pull there. But he was 20+ kilos heavier. That lighter body weight will play against him here.
Yeah, he's still a pretty heavy guy. Now he's got to get over the line, so as the truck. Watch the clock, 41.23. It's going to be so close. And he's done it. We've got another leading time, Bjornsson this time. And this is just getting better and better. The quality of these guys in these events is truly phenomenal. What a leader. Terry Hollands has got to go yet.
Well, losing all that body weight seems to have paid off for Bjornsson. In this searing heat, being lighter and fitter works.
What a moment for Terry Hollands. And that is a fantastic record during a long World's Strongest Man career. He's won 7 of these pulling events in the past. And the man in the driver's seat is Jim Pollock. He will have seen all of those victories in the past. Now, Terry Hollands has got to get low. He's got to get even lower, in fact. And he's got to drive those immensely strong legs as fast as he possibly can. because believe me, Bjornsson's time was truly fantastic.
So far, so good. He's got this up to speed. It's going to be tight with Shaw and Bjornsson.
Well, he's over the halfway point now, and it's all about acceleration and keeping a steady rhythm. I'm not sure it's going to be fast enough, though. It's going to be just short. And in fact, it's outside of the top 2 times. He won't be too displeased with that. Could have been better, of course, but third place does get big points. 42.47 for Big Terry.
Well, he didn't seem overly pleased with that, but Terry Holland's looking very solid here in Sanya. While the Englishman kept out of the top places by Brian Shaw and Hafthor Bjornsson, he's ahead of some very big names indeed. Savickas, Lalas, Berg and Jenkins all further down the order. No doubt as to who's the top trucker, though. It's a slender lead now overall for Hafthor Bjornsson, while Holland's consistency has earned the Englishman second place with some good events to come. Reigning world champion Savickas still all the way down in 6th, 5 points off the pace, but above him it's tight, just 3 points separating the top 5.
Well, Bill, so far the Serenity Marine has been full of surprises.
Surprises, heavy surprises. Frame carry that's the heaviest it's been, pulling a truck, and they loaded a yacht on the back of it. Heavier yet. We got a max deadlift coming up. Everything's heavy.
And these super yokes we're about to get onto in a second look absolutely ridiculous. These things collectively weigh 1,060 pounds, 480 kilos. That just sounds appalling. What kind of strength, what kind of muscle groups are we talking about?
Literally everything. Just to pick it up is going to take a ton of core, low back, hips, and quads just to get it up.
Right.
And then to move it down the course, calves, hamstrings.
Staying in your lane as well, because you can't come out of your lane.
Yeah, the man's going to want to go in a straight line. If he takes one step to the right or left, he could blow out a knee.
All right. The other thing is, when you got 480 kilos on a metal pole across your shoulders, how much is pain resistance important?
Oh, James, I mean, it's literally agony from there to your fingertips, every single step. It's just a mindset. Block it out and go as hard as you can.
All right, super yoke then. Let's get this over with.
I remember when the super yoke weighed in at around about 600 pounds. So there you have it, 60 seconds to get the weight of 480 kilograms down the course of just 20 meters. Well, Mike Burke here is tied for 4th place with the man standing next to him at the moment. Mike Jenkins, he too is tied for this 4th place. There's only a single point between 4th, then a single point between 3rd and 2nd, and then a single point between 2nd and 1st. There's what's gone so far. Lalas, Oberst and Arhu are the 3 early starters. Just over 16 seconds for the leader.
Ready!
This truly is an incredible weight. And the one thing we haven't mentioned, Colin, so far is just sheer balance.
Yeah, it's all about core strength. You can see these guys wobbling a bit in the midsection, but it's Jenkins who's gone ahead of Burke after a poor start.
Well, it's not the first time he's come from behind. And that was a tremendous finish by Mike Jenkins. Just shy of the leader. 16.94, only fractions in it. And Mike Burke producing quite a good time too, 19.03 for 3rd place.
What a brilliant start from Mike Burke. But Jenkins got into his stride, and once he did, he powered away. If his start was quicker, he'd have taken the win.
So a chance for this next pairing to really make some impression on the leaderboard. Brian Shaw, who's down in 3rd place, he has made steady progress up the leaderboard, however. And Zydrunas Savickas in 6th place. Very unusual to see the great men down in that position. So the former champion nearest the camera, the reigning champion on the far side. Here we go. And it's Shaw who just gets away first.
This is a really defining moment. The 2 favourites going head-to-head, and Shaw's just in the lead.
Yeah, Brian Shaw running away from Savickas. Savickas trying to make an impression on him. And that is a phenomenal time. Savickas was just fractions behind him. That was unbelievable. 14.16 for Savickas. That is a classy performance, but Brian Shaw must be ecstatic with his win. He's desperately trying to find out the time, but he is the current leader at the moment with 2 more men to go. 13.64, the new time.
Savickas tried his best to come back at Shaw, but he held his cool, and he held that phenomenal weight over the 20-metre course for what is the leading time.
Hafthor Bjornsson.
Well, Hafthor Bjornsson is the overall leader, and he must be on a bit of a high as well. Everything's gone his way. Terry Holland's in second place. The man from Dartford is going well in World's Strongest Man. That is the prospect for both of them. £1,060. Away we go. Terry Holland strikes first.
Yes, indeed. What a brilliant start, but a wobble on there after just 5 meters for Hollands, and he's slowed up.
Well, Hollands has managed to maintain momentum. Bjornsson is just on his shoulder. Terry Hollands crosses the line. It's certainly slower than Brian Shaw, but Terry Hollands strikes for third place. A good time, 16:51, and Bjornsson 17.77. He'll be disappointed. He's down in sixth place.
Terry Hollands, a.k.a. Mr. Consistency, has now racked up 3 straight third-place finishes and is looking in fantastic shape. Brian Shaw wins the Super Yoke with an incredible time of 13.64, but behind him, Big Z hot on his heels. Could the Lithuanian be coming to life? Overall, it's Shaw who now tops the leaderboard. The man from Kent just a point behind him, and who would write him out of the championship race now? Bjornsson's disappointing return in the Super Yoke sees him slip to third, but Savickas is now just 4 points off the lead. Brian Shaw and Terry Hollands are great friends away from competition, but both are now locked in a battle for the ultimate prize in this brutal sport. The quest for the world's strongest man title continues after the break. Welcome back to the world's strongest man from Sanya, China, where the battle for the title is heating up. And the good news for British fans is that Terry Hollands is right in the mix. Terry may have dropped the 375 kilo steel frame in our first event, but he was still good enough to claim third. The Icelander Hafthor Bjornsson won the next event, the truck pull, but again, Hollands was in third place. And he repeated that feat with the heaviest super yoke in the competition's history. So the man from Kent now lies second in the standings behind his great friend Brian Shaw. With the latest developments of the next event, let's join our commentators Colin Bryce and Paul Dickinson.
Well, certainly Strongest Man is getting very exciting. This is about as close to a weightlifting competition as you can get in World's Strongest Man. There's the opening weight, 370 kilograms. And already we have a little bit of drama because Terry Hollands, who's lying in second place in the competition overall after the first 3 events, has tweaked his back, and that is a real problem, especially in this contest of deadlift. There's the situation so far. Terry Hollands equal in first place, but the bar is going to get heavier. And Mike Burke and Mike Jenkins lead the way.
Terry Holland.
400 kilograms is now the target for Big Terry, being watched by Lalas and Savickas on the far side. This is a really important lift for Terry, but he can't get it. His back has seized up eventually, so he'll take no further part in this competition, and his best remains at 370. But believe me, the bar is going to get heavier and heavier.
400 kilos for Hollands is normally a training weight, but I think it was hurting when he went down and didn't really make an effort at that.
Terry, I know how much this competition and indeed this event, the deadlift, means to you. How frustrating was it to bow out when you did in the deadlift?
It's really frustrating. I injured my back a few weeks ago at the Britons, and it's just the same injury, just got a little bit worse. It's very frustrating for me knowing that, you know, 400 kilos usually for me is a bit of a warm-up lift, you know, to be honest. It's normally a very comfortable lift, and I mean, as soon as I did the first lift, I knew something was very, very wrong. You know, obviously I'm very frustrated, and, you know, whether I'm going to be able to do the next 2 events, who knows, you know, I'm going to try, obviously, but, yeah, it's just so hard, you know. Feel like it's sort of been snatched away from me again. The title was perhaps, maybe not within my grasp, but, you know, I had a chance, and now it's sort of set me back a long way, and it's probably out of reach.
And you'll just have to keep coming back for a few more years, Terry.
Oh, maybe I will, maybe I will.
I certainly hope he's going to be around for a while. Meanwhile, Lalas achieved 400 kilograms, second in the final last year. Then Bjornsson with a new Icelandic record of 400 kilos. Things were looking good. And then Jenkins, he got 400 kilograms as well, a bit slower, but it was a good lift, a personal best. Then Shaw, absolutely rock solid at 400. He would certainly go higher. And then the greatest of them all, Zaviskus, 400 kilos too.
From Iceland.
So here we go. The bar is higher. He's in third place after 3 events, but only 3 points behind the leader. It really is close at the top. There's Brian Shaw and Zaviskus watching. But Bjornsson is a good lifter, isn't he?
He is very good, but this is massively above his personal best by 20 kilos. And no, if you don't make it the first time, you're not going to make it a second time. Gives up there.
Yeah, certainly Bjornsson, a good lifter, but 400 kilos remains his best. Looks a little bit dejected walking away, doesn't he?
He does. It's a big jump to 420, but we're going high because we want to get a world record potentially. That would be over 442 kilos.
Vitadas Lalas, he's down in 7th place. He's got sufficient events to make up the difference. Mike Jenkins, he achieved 400. That was a new lifetime best for the man. He's decided to pull out. So it's all about Lalas now. 420 the target. Can't get it. He's not going to try it again, is he? No. He comes away. Best lift of 400 kilograms, the same as Jenkins. And certainly not in the shape that he was last year.
The best I've seen him deadlift before this is 410. He gave it a good effort, but no, not past the knees.
From the United States of America.
Right, it's going to start getting very interesting at this stage. The former champion wants this, and so does he. Zaviskus could be the best deadlifter in the world, but equally so could Brian Shaw. Now, how strong is the former world's strongest man? Oh, he's got tremendous back strength. That was incredible. As soon as it came off the deck, it rocketed up his thighs. And boy, does he look determined. Well, up next is a man trying to emulate the real legends of the sport. Sigmarsson for Magnusson, both with 4 titles. Can Zydrunas Zaviskus match them all? It really would be a magnificent performance, but he is only down in 4th place and only 3 events to go. Brian Shaw in the background, he's already lifted this weight. And so does Zaviskus. Does he? Yes, he does. Manages to slide it up his thighs, and that looked good. So the co-leader with the great American.
Doesn't look quite as convincing as Shaw, a little bit slower, but then again, he always lifts slowly, Zaviskus. He is the world record holder, let's not forget.
So 2 men left in the competition at new world record figures. There's the second, Zaviskus waiting patiently. 442.5 kilograms. 400 kilograms is 880 pounds. So this is getting close to the magic 1,000-pound barrier. Brian Shaw, though, just lifting in basketball boots. Is he going to get it? He's got to get it at full arm's length with straight legs, and he's got it. That is magnificent. The first time that's ever been achieved in World's Strongest Man, and Zaviskus has to follow that.
That's a huge moment right there. Brian Shaw's just snatched away Zaviskus's world record in the deadlift, maybe the most important record of them all.
Well, he looks mean, he looks pumped up, but this is some weight he's got to achieve. He's never lifted it before. Only this man has lifted 442.5 kilograms. And this to maintain the pressure on Brian Shaw. Oh, he couldn't quite do it. And that is amazing. Brian Shaw has beaten Zaviskus and extends his lead over everybody. What a finish we're going to have.
I have to say, Paul, that is the first time I have ever seen Zaviskus fail a deadlift. What a moment for Brian Shaw.
So there's disappointment in the deadlift for Terry Hollands, who can only manage 370 kilos. But how about Brian Shaw? A new world record, the American, the only man to lift 442.5 kilos, or 973 pounds in old money.
Brian, congratulations. A new world record of 442.5 kilograms. How fantastic is that?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I came into this event really wanting to beat Zydrunas at it. I've only tied him at World's Strongest Man ever in the deadlift. I've never beat him. So to finally beat him, especially at a max event where he's considered to be probably the greatest of all time, it's great. It's really good.
And what for the support you receive? It seems there's a lot of cheers from you, always from the crowd, from fellow athletes as well. Yeah,
you know, I like to think that I get along with the guys really well, and you know, I don't have a big ego or anything like that. I'm a tough competitor, and you know, it's nice to have support not only from the fans but from the other competitors as well. It means a lot to me.
Well, applause and more for Shaw's world record performance in the deadlift, which has opened up a 5-point gap now at the top, with 2 events remaining. Worryingly for Terry Hollands, his back injury sees him heading in the wrong direction. The Englishman now outside the podium places.
We may be in China, but we're not going to pander to tradition. For our next test, indeed, we brought in something absolutely new for the finals. It is the overhead medley. Now, I see barbells and dumbbells. What's the story, Bill?
We start with a dumbbell. Take it with both hands up to the shoulder, which is going to be tough enough. Let go with one hand and press it to arm's length for a down signal from the ref.
Ram it overhead.
That's right.
Okay, with the barbells?
Similar. Grab on with both hands, take it to the chest, shoulders, and press it overhead. It cannot touch the hold onto the belt, rest there. So it's a very live bar, and it's going to be tough.
Sounds an unbelievably tough event.
Yes.
All right, then, on to our penultimate test.
Now, this is an unusual event, that's for sure. 75 seconds, and you've got to lift all 4 objects in order. 2 dumbbells, 2 barbells, ranging in weight. Unfortunately for English supporters, Terry Hollands failed to lift a weight. So that meant the Englishman, for the time being, was down in 7th position. Then Hafthor Bjornsson, currently in 6th place because of a solitary lift to the dumbbell. Robert Oberst, he looked a little better, lifted 2 objects and currently in 5th place. Johannes Arhu in 4th place as a result of lifting 2 objects faster. Vitalis Lalas, so much better last year, but 3rd place for the time being. Mike Jenkins was even better, 2nd place, but a long way behind this man. 4 objects in the fastest time, 68.17. So the American is leading.
Representing Lithuania, the reigning world's strongest man,
Zydrunas Savickas now has to make this count. He's 5 points behind the overall leader at the moment. So this has got to go some. Gregor Edmonds in the background. He's been there or thereabouts for the whole competition watching these guys. And he, amongst the whole of the support here, would be amazed if Savickas gets beaten. But Brian Shaw is the man in top position, just watching at the moment. He's yet to go.
Well, of all of the events to have, Savickas would have wanted an overhead now to start the comeback, as it were. 68 seconds for Mike Burke's lead, and look at this, he's got 40 seconds plus to do it. The final implement. 180 kilos.
Well, his back is so strong. That makes a big difference, and he's got the lead. This is going to be such a finish we're going to see to this year's World's Strongest Man. There's the current leader, Savickas, the reigning champion.
And he beats Mike Burke by over 20 seconds. Well, Kazmar said it was a live weight. Look at the way it wobbles around on his chest.
From the United States of America, Brian Shaw!
Well, when Brian Shaw burst on the scene with that victory in 2011, we knew that here was a man who could emulate Savickas, who could be better than almost anybody. But he's seen what Savickas has done now. The leading time, 43.53. But that first dumbbell was fairly quick, Colin.
Yeah, 110 kilos. It's the lightest of all the implements. Now this, 170 kilos. How does he handle the wobble? Not bad.
Yeah, that wasn't bad at all. Now, right-handed, is it? Yes, it is. Just got to steady himself and then go. And he can't do it. He's got to go again. And Brian Shaw is in a bit of a mess here.
But he just missed the lockout. He's getting it high enough, but it's as if his triceps fatigued. He's unable to hold it there. But he still has 30 seconds or thereabouts to do this.
I'll tell you what, there is such drama in this penultimate event. And Shaw, well, not only is he not going to catch Savickas, he could finish well down the table here.
Yeah, there's a certain irony here that Mike Burke, his best friend, is going to be in between him and Zaviskus.
Brian Shaw, 4th place in the overhead medley. That is a big shock.
Yeah, and a lifeline to Zaviskus.
Well, as shocks go, that was a pretty big one. Brian Shaw, usually so powerful overhead, can only manage 4th place. No surprises, though, about the winner of the medley, Zaviskus, proving emphatically that his are the strongest shoulders in the world.
Well, Zydrunas, with a time of 43.53, you win the overhead medley. How important was that win for you in this final?
Before this event, Brian have 5 more points, and now just 2 points behind him. It's not easy, but it's some chance. If I not did well in this event, then it's competition for me is over.
Just try and describe to us how difficult it was lifting those bars. It seemed that they were quite wobbly at times.
It's very flexible bars. It's shaking all your body, and the weight is not so heavy, but it's big problem to keep in right position for starting lift it.
So disappointment again for Terry Hollands as he slips out of the top 5, but there's nothing wrong with Zaviskus' calculations. He is indeed just 2 points back with 1 event remaining. While Mike Jenkins is still in with a shot at the title, realistically, it's going to come down to the top 2. Shaw and Big Z once again inseparable. Will the American hold on to his lead, or will the Lithuanian's charge prove unstoppable? Get the answers after the break when we reveal the 2013 World's Strongest Man.
Welcome back. Now, if you had to take the whole of strongman, its challenges, its history, and compress it down into one super condensed nutshell, you'd pretty much have one of these, an Atlas stone. These are the things that the athletes regard as the ultimate test of their strongman status. They provide the traditional end to any competition, and naturally, they're going to be the decider this time around as well, as Brian Shaw and Big Z go head-to-head for the title of 2013 Commerce World's Strongest Man.
Well, in theory, if the Atlas Stones was won by another man, there's still a number of guys there that could win this, but realistically, it is down to just 2. 60 seconds to lift 5 stones, the heaviest weighing in at 185 kilos. The stones have got to be lifted in the ascending weight, and there is the situation after 5 of the 6 events. Shaw and Zaviskus, only 2 points separating them. Mike Jenkins has got an outside chance, and so has Hafthor Bjornsson. Well, Bjornsson has got to fly. We know how good a stone lifter he is. Finished in 3rd place last season. That was good. And 5th place for Mike Jenkins. Well, this is what has happened so far. Mike Burke leads the way, 5 stones in 27.16. That is a very fine result indeed for the American. Johannes Arhu in 2nd place. Ready? Well, Bjornsson has got a real chance here, but what it means is that Brian Shaw and Zaviskus must not lift any of the stones onto the podium at all.
Yeah, really Bjornsson's chance is to get onto the podium, to capture 3rd and take it away from Jenkins. And right now he's ahead of the big American.
27.16 is the time to beat, and he's done it easily. Good result for Bjornsson, and what a climax we've got to this year's competition. And Jenkins just at 31.10. This is building up into being a fantastic finish. Hafthor Bjornsson leads at the moment in 23.31. But Jenkins looking a bit disconsolate because that 3rd place currently means that he could disappear off the rostrum.
That's right, Paul. He'll go down to 4th place, Bjornsson into 3rd. That is, of course, assuming that Shaw and Zaviskus both put a stone up.
And now it's the big 2. It's all about Brian Shaw and Zydrunas Zaviskus. Can Zaviskus retain his title? Can Brian Shaw win it again? All Shaw needs to do is to stay ahead of Zaviskus. And judging by his form so far in the heats, I think he can.
Well, it was Zaviskus who was quicker to the first podium, but Shaw nails it, puts it on top, and the 2nd.
Well, this is nail-biting stuff. Brian Shaw could win this, but what has Zaviskus got to say about it? 2 more to go for each of them. And Shaw it is who's in the lead. Can Brian Shaw win this? It's going to be close. Yes, he can. Just ahead of Zaviskas. This man thought he'd got it to retain his title. But Brian Shaw wins it for the USA for the second time. Oh, my goodness. These two guys have kept us on the edge of our seats for so long. But Brian Shaw has taken the World's Strongest Man title at last.
Well, he's a second and a half slower than Bjornsson was in the Stones, but that doesn't matter. He beats Zaviskas, and the former basketball player hits a slam dunk to get his second title.
Brian Shaw, you are the world's strongest man. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it means so much, you know, coming off a really tough year and a half for me with a couple injuries and battling to get back here. You know, there was some pretty dark times, you know, and I didn't know, you know, where my career was going to go. So to be back on top and to regain my title as the world's strongest man, it just means so much to me.
And how nervous were you going through the event with just a 2-point lead over Zaviskas coming into the final one?
Well, Zadrunas and I have been here a few times, and every one of them I beat him on the stone. So this is normally my event, and you know, it was again today, so I'm happy.
And how does this differ from the win in 2011?
Well, I think earning my second title it solidifies the fact that I'm one of the best to ever do this, and you know, hopefully I can add a few more titles to that as well. But you know, I mean, it's been a real pleasure to compete with all the finalists. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal group of guys and competitors, and you know, my hat's off to them because they made me work really hard to get this. So you know, it's been fun, and I'm looking forward to next year already.
That's bad news for the rest of the field. For now, Hafthor Bjornsson confirms his status as the world's best stone lifter, Shaw having to settle for second place here, but the only thing that matters is he finishes ahead of Zadrunas Zaviskas. So overall, Terry Hollands, once as high as second place, now finishes 7th. Bjornsson's victory in the Atlas Stones means he pips Jenkins to a podium finish, but all eyes are on the top of the table and Brian Shaw's 3-point victory.
And that brings to an end the 2013 Commerce World's Strongest Man. It's been, frankly, one of the most grueling editions of this competition we can remember. Certainly had his casualties too. Big Terry Hollands. Will we see him back here? Who knows? But our congratulations go to all 10 of the finalists who travelled across the world to compete here in Sanya and gave this competition everything. And above all, to Brian Shaw, for the second time, the strongest man in the world. Goodbye.